Allie Veritgan seems like a typical college senior, busy with schoolwork and other activities. But thanks to her activism on behalf of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender equality, Allie was recently honored by the Human Rights Campaign of Chicago with the LGBT College Student Award. We welcome Allie, who is majoring in Spanish and Religion and Service at Elmhurst College. Allie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm really interested in starting off by hearing your story and how it was for you growing up in the church and figuring out your sexual orientation and how that fit in with everything else.
Yeah, for me it's a lot different than you might hear from other people who have grown up in the church and sort of had the whole thought about sexual orientation. I grew up in the United Church of Christ, which is a really welcoming denomination nationally. I mean, there are always specific churches that might have different feelings, but the UCC as a whole is a very welcoming denomination. And so I had never been taught that being gay was something that I couldn't be. I had met many LGBTQ pastors in my life and looked up to them just like I would look up to anybody. And so the church was always a really safe place for me, and it was never something I felt like I had to run from or turn away from while realizing my sexual orientation. And so when that happened in college, some of the first people that I shared that with were people I had met through the church or people that knew me in a very spiritual way. And so for me, it was a really positive experience. It wasn't scary or I didn't feel kicked out or anything like that. So it was really quite fantastic.
Tell us a little bit about the time you were at the Chinese restaurant.
Yeah.
And what happened there?
This is a favorite story of many. So I came out to my mom at a Chinese restaurant. I figured it was about darn time. I'm an only child and I'm really close with my parents. And so it's been really easy for me to share this part of who I am with them. And so, you know, we were there. I said, "Mom, I'm not straight." And she said, "Pass the soy sauce," and I did, and we just carried on as if it were no big deal, because it's just part of who I am to her, which is really exciting. So it's just always been something we've been really really comfortable talking about. Until my dad at a red light, because I figured, well, Mom knows, so Dad might as well know too, and so it sort of, I don't know, it sort of fell out of my mouth, and so it's been really great. He's a pastor in the UCC as well, and so I don't know, he's always been a really cool role model for me.
Who were some of the people that really inspired you or encouraged you to just be you and to communicate with people about that?
Yeah, I don't know. I sort of do things differently, I guess. I sort of just realized really quickly that I was gay. I didn't have this huge, long period where I was in the closet or not telling everyone or not answering questions or anything. And so I met the very first woman I had a crush on, and then I started telling people about it. And so, I don't know, she was really cool about being herself. And so that really set a good example for me of, you know, what life can be like when you have, you know, when you've chosen to live really authentically. So because of her and my, you know, feelings for her, I was able to join, I guess, the LGBT friend group at Elmhurst College. And so, seeing that I can be myself and still be accepted and still have a lot of good times was really exciting for me. And then, so besides my friend group, I mean, the whole church support thing was fantastic. And so in my church communities, I felt really safe sharing that with people that really cared about me. And then the faculty and administration and staff at Elmhurst College really were very proactive about making it clear how they felt about LGBT issues and in a very positive way. And so I knew that when I had questions, there were people I could talk to, and that was really supportive.
So you were actually quoted in the media when you were describing Elmhurst and how they were inclusive, and they actually added a question to their application process regarding the sexual orientation of the applicants. So talk a little bit about why that question is so important, why that's such a big deal for the application process.
Yeah, we were really excited. I was really excited when I found out that that was happening, not only because we were the first college in the country that we know of to actually put this on an application. To me, it really set an example that the college was sticking to their values of providing a safe and inclusive environment for all of their students, and for sticking to the social justice values that we hold as a college and mirroring our relationship with United Church of Christ was really excellent. And so realizing that this this is a group of people that needs some paying attention to, no more or less than anybody else, but Elmhurst College wants to serve its students, and so the more that we can learn about students, the better resources we can provide. And so I was really proud when Elmhurst did that.
Your activism with the LGBTQ community has earned some recognition from the Human Rights Campaign.
Yeah.
A very exciting part. And you were actually the first Elmhurst student to be recognized for this. So describe that a little bit and what your thoughts are around that.
It was really an exciting process. It happened very quickly. Some people at the college that I'm close with found out that this award existed and quickly nominated me. And then about a week later, I got a phone call saying that I had received the award, and I was a little shocked. I didn't really understand the magnitude of what had happened until I actually got to the banquet and realized how legitimate this was. And so it was a really exciting experience, very humbling. I mean, because for me, I'm just doing what I'm passionate about and doing the things that I love.
What are some of those things that you are doing that you hope is meaningful and gaining awareness for the LGBT community?
One of the things that I'm most excited about is I've been involved with it for 2 years now, but it's existed prior to my being involved with it, is our LGBT group on campus, Equal Elmhurst Queers and Allies, has hosted an event called Big Gay Gathering, which sounds a little silly, but it was the first thing we could come up with, and the name sort of stuck. And so that's an event where we open it up to all of Elmhurst College, but also specifically inviting high school students and their gay straight alliances to come to Elmhurst College and do some fun and educational programming and social bonding time and lots of fun activities. To get students, to see that, college can be really cool. It sort of fits nicely with the whole It Gets Better campaign that's going on right now, but it just helps students know what to look for in an inclusive college, and that college can be safe and that there are resources and options out there, and in my words, they shouldn't settle for anything less than an inclusive community. And it's just nice to get students out there to meet each other, because even in your gay straight alliance and in a high school setting, it can be really isolating to feel like you're one of maybe 5 or 10 people that care about a community or an issue, but then to see that there are 100 students all around the Chicagoland area, in one place that really care about something is really exciting. So that's like the thing that I most get excited about, I think.
And you talked about growing up in a nurturing church environment. What is something that you could tell someone who's maybe not in quite such a nurturing environment? How can they get through that? What can they look forward to?
Yeah. I won't deny that it's hard. I've heard stories from countless individuals in the queer community that the church wasn't a safe place and they couldn't go church hunting on their own and find a place they felt comfortable, or they, all those terrible things that you hear about. But I'm always encouraging people to stick up for themselves and be a little more proactive in some of the ways that they choose to seek out spirituality. I know in my context, the UCC has a church locator on their website, and you can check and see which churches are open and affirming, which means they are actively inclusive of LGBT people. And so look for those churches, look out for communities. Have your own spiritual life. You don't, just because one particular person or denomination or church tells you that this is what the scripture says, have your own relationship with it. I think that's what God calls all of us to, is to understand scripture in our own way and in the best way that we can. And so I like to encourage people to have their own spiritual lives, and I hope and pray that people find communities that will support them.
Well, Allie, thank you so much for sharing your story with us and for being an ally. I like how your name also can work for ally as well. We appreciate you coming in.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you. I'm Leanne Noland for Different Drummers and the Greater Chicago Broadcast Ministries. Keep the faith.